All right, so if you're like me, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a beautiful day. If you're like me and you are completely buried in these things, just too much of them, today we're going to fix it. Stick with me. I've got an idea of how I'm going to cut down some of these scraps. Let's get it right. So I can free up some space in my sewing room. I'm not sure how many space I'm going to free up, but let's complete the challenge together. So I am randomly selecting some strips. Where did I get my strips from? Well, as usual, the ends and cut off for backing, leftover jelly rolls. Whether they may be ones that's new, old, or current, doesn't matter. What I tend to do is once I have the strips of fabric or the leftover backing, I will cut them into, I think, what is this? About a meter long? Did you see my average measurement there? And cut them into 2.5, and I will either roll them up like a jelly roll. Hey, as I said that, I think it's around the time of Jelly Roll Day. So hopefully this video comes out on time. All right, so I may not quilt it. I may just show you the actual quilt itself, and we can take it from there. At least you have an idea if you're buried in scraps like I am, to get rid of it. So we're going to sew them like so. I've chosen 5. That's horrible. Look at that. But you know what? I always start sometimes thinking it's not the best. And then when I have completed, I think, oh, it's really cute. So come with me and stick till the end, and I will have something surprising to give to you. All right? So like and subscribe for more. Hello there, my name is Karen, and I enjoy anything challenging when it comes to quilting. It makes me happy, frustrated sometimes, and damn right, you know what I mean? Because sometimes I just want to get rid of the scraps and start a new project. I have some fat quarters that I'm longing to start, but my inner me wants to get rid of some of the scraps first before I feel justified in tackling the new ones that I haven't touched as yet. So let's get started and dive into this crazy, let me get some more. They're all on the floor. My room is a complete mess. But hey, let's hope by the end of it, not too much is on the floor anymore. So let's get started. Okay, so now I've decided on just looking for some more strips to add to what I have here. These are the ones I'm considering using. I am going to look through my bin and see what I can get. Now, normally there is strips of fabric in here, and I think I have mixed them up, not keeping to my promise of keeping my strips separate from my pieces. But I'm going to continue looking through and see what I can get and what I can use. As you can tell, there's lots of pieces in here. I'm quite disappointed with myself because it was so much easier with my last set of scraps to make the quilt that it was easier to find the strips. But I will progress and see what I come up with. So yeah, let's push through. All right, strips is chosen, and I'm going to select them in reference of color. Now, I'm not going to try and keep the same color throughout. And if you notice, all of my strips look very similar in reference to prints. So the prints are floral and they are very small or medium in size. I am going to arrange them in groups of 5. Currently, the gray strip is rather smaller than the others. All of the other strips are 2.5. I'm going to group them in groups of 5 and not going to arrange them in any particular order. I'm just placing them together. I will be grouping them in groups of 5, so I'll probably do 4 of the 5 groups. As I said, no particular order of color. The only thing here that we're going to do is to ensure that they're all the same size and just sew them together.
Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, well, I don't wanna jinx it, baby. And twist myself at the spine. Don't wanna overthink it, baby. It's just twist your body and mine. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh.
Wake up, coach. They don't care about us. What do you want to teach your son? How to run away with that guitar? That's not right for you. You? What is this at? K-State Treasures. K-State's roof.
Any students eligible planning with statewide healing. We lost 2 of your guys this morning. Well, I assumed you knew.
Chris? That's coach. See how you know. See how you doing? How you feeling, coach? You all right?
So after rummaging through my scraps, I considered many options. One of those were to add some 10-inch squares of this particular fabric here, or some of the blue, or considered to make more of the strips. But I decided on not to go ahead with that. For my layout, I decided on moving forward with this. I laid the blocks out horizontal and vertical. To my surprise, I am happy with the layout, and I'm happy with the look of the vintage prints. It looks pretty good on camera. I think on camera view sold me. But let's move on to the next stage and see how I feel then. Tell me what you think down below. What would you have done? Would you have continued with more blocks? Because I can, but I don't want to get any big. I just wanted to make it a lap size and save some of the scraps for another project. Let me know what you'd have done down below. So after deciding on what I want the size to be, now I am adding a small border around. I'm using scraps yet again to complete this project. This is all the white fabric that I actually have, and I'm cutting it very slender to ensure that I get all of the sizes that will require me to go all the way around to achieve my project. Using scraps to complete your project can really be helpful. It just means that you have to be a little bit thoughtful in your pre-planning and how you want to finish your item. As you know, scraps can go a very long way. It just requires patience and a little bit of thought to complete it to the best of your ability. When using scraps to complete your project, precise cutting is required. Any mishap and you have to literally go back to your stash and begin the process all over again. But once you have precise cuts, you really should be okay. Alright, so now that's done, I'm going to take all of my strips and cut them into one long so that I can sew all the way around the quilt. So just as a tip, if you are quilting and for whatever reason you find yourself that you cannot see the quilting on the front of the quilt, well, the best thing to do is to turn it on the wrong side and you can see the actual quilting. What you may find is that sometimes, depending on the prints, that you will not be able to see the actual quilting stitches, and so sometimes it can be a bit difficult. So the quickest result is to just turn it on the wrong side and you'll be able to see the stitches. The other option is that you can change your thread, but if you started already, I will imagine that the easiest solution is to just turn it on the wrong side. And so you can see it's so much more easier, it's stress-free. I am doing a stippling stitch, and in this instance it's easier to do it in this way on the back side of the quilt. This can often happen if you're using fabrics such as scraps, because there's so many, a multitude of colors within the scrap fabric. And in my case, I'm using lots of different coordinated jelly rolls that has white background. I am using a light color quilting thread, so again makes it difficult. By the end of the day, it's just a tip, and you can do with it what you feel comfortable doing. So I have another tip to share with you. So if for whatever reason you are making a quilt and you don't feel like making extra binding, well, you can turn your quilt into a self-binding using the backing of the fabric. So what I have done is to trim away the excess of the backing here, leaving it attached to the back as shown. What I have also done is trim away the excess to the end of the quilt or the border where I have actually quilted. And so the excess I've trimmed away for the backing, but I've left myself 1 inch. So I measured from the edge of the border to where it says 1 inch in width, and I just trimmed it all the way around. So all I am doing currently as I sew on the binding, or the self-binding in this case, is to fold it twice. I'm going to fold to the edge of the border, and then I'm going to fold it over again. Now you can do this in 2 ways. You can simply iron it down, pin it down, whatever makes you happy, but I am just sitting and folding. So all I'm going to do is to continue sewing it all the way down. Now, when I get to the end, what I am going to do now is to simply raise it up so I have a little bit of leeway, and I'm going to take it out so you can see what I am doing. Normally I wouldn't. So I'm going to fold it at an angle. So I'm giving myself my mitered corner here. So I'm going to fold it at an angle, just like that. So I'm folding it at an angle like that. So I'm getting my 45-degree as normal. Once I have done that, I'm just going to finger press it just so that it stays, and then I'm going to continue to fold it once again, just as I have done normally, to the edge of the border there. All right. So once I have done that, I have this sort of awkward angle there. I'm going to try and finger press it so it stays. So I have this awkward angle in the corner there. All right, so all I am going to do, hopefully you can make that out. So all I am going to do now to get my mitered corner is to simply hold it and to flip it over one more time. Now this time I am covering the raw edge as normal. I'm just going to fold it over, and I have my nice angle there. Just make sure it's all nice and neat. And all I'm going to do now is go back where I stopped, and I am going to put my needle down. Now I'm going to pivot because I've already sewn across this way. I'm going to pivot, and I'm going to just continue because it automatically folds in. It's going to continue folding over and just continue. And that's it, and you will get a beautiful mitered corner, which I will show you at the end. And that's it. You just continue all the way down, just tucking it over. So again, just a quick way of finishing your quilt. And if you want to hand bind, you can do that, or use a sewing machine. It just eliminates two steps: cutting for binding, saving fabric, and the other step is you just folding over. You don't have to stitch on one side and then stitch on the other side, so you're saving yourself a few steps. But in the instance, you wouldn't get that line underneath as you would normally, but it looks really fun, and I'll show it to you at the end.
up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, well, I don't wanna jinx it, baby, and twist myself at the spine. Don't wanna overthink it, baby. It's just twist your body and mine. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, but I don't wanna jinx it, baby. Let's not get ahead of my time. Oh.
Alright guys, so here is the completed quilt. This quilt comprises of scrappy strips of jelly rolls, okay, and I literally made it within 1 hour or less. As you can see, it's really lovely. It came out really nicely. I love the twist and turn in the middle there, and the blocks were laid out horizontal and vertical, which has come together really nicely. This quilt measures 41.5 inches squared. I've added a really beautiful small border, as well as I did a self-binding as explained in the video. On the back, you got a beautiful fabric there, really lovely, and you can see all of the quilting, hopefully. And there is your quilting. For the binding, remember we did a self-binding, which worked out really beautiful. I just love the way it came out, and you still get a really beautiful mitered corner there. So nice and so easy to make this. It really does remove a process. Again, look at the mitered corner here as well. So everything has worked together for good, literally. A beautiful quilt can be used as a baby quilt, which I think is absolutely gorgeous. Love the colors. I must admit, I am very pleasantly surprised of the whole outcome of this literally less than an hour quilt. It's just so fantastic. Love the colors. I am pleasantly surprised, because you remember my response at the start of the video when I did the introduction, how I was like, ew, didn't like it. But it just goes to show that when you use a combination of, you know, different fabrics that from the same line, so to speak, it looks good, doesn't it? I mean, all of the prints are small florals. It looks very vintage, and I just love it. I must admit, I'm wishing I made a larger quilt now. So with that being said, do like and subscribe for more. I hope you enjoyed this, a very simplistic tutorial of making a scrap quilt literally within 1 hour or an hour. It was such an easy quilt to make, guys, and I think you will enjoy getting rid of some of your scraps, using up scraps, making your scrap basket empty and bringing it all together. Just looks really lovely. Bye for now. Happy quilting, and if you enjoyed this tutorial, do give me a thumbs up, leave me a feedback down below, let me know what you thought of this beautiful quilt, and I shall see you in the next one.